Hello and welcome to Movie of the Year. I'm your host, Greg. Ryan, what are we doing here today?
Shit, Greg, I thought you were going to throw it to me in like 10 minutes
Nope.
from now. None of my papers are in order.
I am absolutely confused because we are talking about 2019, right? We are talking about movies of the year.
Right. And so you would think we're just doing the same thing we're always doing.
Yeah.
You'd be wrong, Greg.
Yeah.
You'd be wrong. The board has not yet gotten us the bracket for the 2019 movie of the year. But we don't have time to start a new season.
No.
So what we're going to do is we're going to spend a couple of weeks prepping for what we think might be on there, sort of filling some blind spots that we might have in the year.
Okay. So just going through some of the movies of 2019.
Right.
And talking about them. Mike, do you agree to do this?
You know what? I came in just ready to disagree with everything, but this sounds good. This sounds like a lot of fun. Are we still competing for your love and approving?
Because it is made fresh anew every day, and so you guys have to once again win it. I think that's very important. Of course, not here tonight is Taylor, because Taylor refuses to talk about 2019 in any capacity.
It's not that we're doing a Chinese movie. It's not. It has nothing to do with that. It's about the year. Do you guys think that you have a lot of blind spots, or did you do a good job this year?
I did okay. My big year where I felt like every movie was 2018, but 2019 I actually had a job for a lot of it, and so I did okay. But I don't know. I feel like I probably could have done better. How about you guys?
Yeah, I feel pretty the same. There was a lot of big superhero events throughout the year, so I crushed those. But like all like the little indies, like I definitely saw Booksmart, saw Us, which somehow was still this year. But there's some gaps there.
It is crazy to think that like the movie we're talking about tonight is Farewell, the Farewell, and that only came out in the summer. That feels so long ago.
Yeah.
Like, I can't believe this movie came out in 2019. It came out in the middle of 2019.
And was like, it feels like a long time ago, too, because it had its own era. Like, there was a month that the world was just about the Farewell.
Yeah.
For at least a movie of its, like, size and budget. Like, it was kind of a huge hit.
Did you see it in theaters, you two?
Yes, I did. I sort of had to, like, especially because you can only see the superhero movies so many times.
Yeah.
And it was such a nice, like, explosionless movie, like a break from all that shit.
Mike, did you see it in theaters?
No, I don't know if you guys know, but I traveled around the world this summer, and I was just constantly busy doing awesome things, and so I just couldn't see movies.
So you didn't see
The point is that you did
a good movie.
Yeah.
No.
You had a stupid summer is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Let me ask you right off the bat. I think we all loved this movie, right?
Yeah.
This is
Sure,
an amazing.
yes.
This is an amazing movie. Isn't it all ruined by the fact that the grandma has not died?
It did.
What the fuck?
If I didn't know that it was a true story,
Yeah.
I would have. It felt like a cheesy, shitty sort of ending.
I mean, I never want anybody, obviously, to die, especially not sweet old ladies. But this movie took place 6 years ago. You should be dead by now. You're really ruining the denouement.
And also, Greg, let's be careful what you wish for, because if all sweet old ladies were still alive, this world would be messed up. All right, there'd be no resources, too many cheek pinches.
Yeah, the title before the movie starts says based on a real lie, and you think that's like the lie of not telling the grandma she's alive. No, the lie is that she's still alive. This is all a fucking waste of sadness.
This is like when a Make-A-Wish kid ends up pulling through. I gotta say, you should have gotten to meet A-Rod.
Well, his wish was to have cancer cured, so he made it. But yeah, it is weird because you're upset that she's still alive, and then you realize you were wishing that she was dead.
Yeah.
That's what you were hoping for.
At the very end of the movie, when Awkwafina goes like, "Ha!" and then all the birds fly away in China, that's clearly supposed to be the grandma dying. But instead, it's like, nope, that was 6 years ago. She was on the set of this movie. They had to keep lying to her about why they were making. That's a true thing. Why they were making this movie, because this lady, obviously, well, we'll get into why she has been able to hang on, because it might be central to what the point of the entire movie is. But before we do that, talking about grannies, we have to talk about some of the most important grannies of pop culture history. And to do it, we're going to have to put them up on Mount Rushmore.
Mount Rushmore!
Mount Rushmore is a mountain emblazoned with four of the founding fathers: Snap, Crackle, Pop, and, of course, Cap'n Crunch. But it fell down, and when they pulled it back up, it was totally broken. And now we
It's
have
all
to
broken.
replace it's just big cracks all across Snapple and Pop, but then not actually crack, and that was ridiculous. So what we're going to do is we're going to replace it, and who better to replace these icons of American history than pop culture grandmas? Now, guys, famously, I didn't really have a relationship with any of my grandmas. Do you think that will make it hard for me to be a judge on this?
I do sort of want to talk about it and why they chose to make that the case.
Yeah.
Why did they pick not to get to know you?
They together went on a motorcycle tour of the world, and they've been going very slowly, and they just haven't come back yet.
They'll be back someday. They're going
Nana.
to buy those cigarettes and they'll be back for you.
Nana, Bam Bam, come home.
I assumed it was when you were 5, you set them next to each other, put a little like talk boy in the middle and said, all right, let's figure out who's my favorite grandma of the week. And they both were like, no, we're too old for that shit, and took off.
My grandmas knew. Like, my grandmas both clearly knew which was the favorite, and they were both fine with it.
Yeah.
If it was reversed, they both would have freaked out.
I think, you could really settle into being the second grandparent. There's a lot less expected of you. You still get to look at the kid.
No shopping, like birthday, Christmas is easy. It's like hand them cash or don't.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't just do nothing.
You could probably only go over there sometimes, All right, Mike, who do you think should be on this Mount Rushmore of pop culture grannies?
I think of like let's define granny, right? Like it's somebody who you had that love, but somebody who's never going to get in trouble, somebody who kind of watches your back and helps you along, and you help them along. And I'm going to say it's Grandma Gilmore from
Yes.
Happy Gilmore.
Oh, man.
The reason for the season. I mean, the movie doesn't happen if that old bitch doesn't lose her house.
I feel like most groups of guys are pretty deeply invested in the Gilmore Girls, and we are certainly no exception to that. Grandma Gilmore definitely going right up there. Probably the comedic center of that entire show.
I do remember in one of Happy's, like, he's like, I don't know, goes into like a dream state and thinks about all the bad stuff that's going to happen. And one of them is like her in his fantasy, like about to have sex with somebody else. And I think that's his bad fantasy, right? That's not his good one.
That's where we got our Ben Stiller. Are we? So I thought you meant the Gilmore grandma from Gilmore Girls.
No, I meant from Happy Gilmore.
From Happy Gilmore.
The Gilmore grandma is a fucking monster from the Gilmore Girls. She's a fucking tyrant. Those grandparents are the worst.
But she's so funny.
I've only like overheard the show while other people are watching it, and yeah, she seems like a fucking tornado of bitchiness.
Well, she's a terrible person. But later, maybe we'll talk about Nai Nai. Is Nai Nai all good?
Also, Gilmore is on TV.
Oh, I thought it has to be movies.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, she's already on the mountain. Okay, we've already started carving her wrinkled visage on the mountain. Ryan, who do you got?
I think that I'm going to throw out Nai Nai. I think this is the reason for the show today, and I think that she does such a good job. She's so memorable. Also, a shockingly low amount of grandmas in movies. I was surprised by that. But yeah, I think that every once in a while, the reason we do the Rushmore, the person makes it on, and I think Nai Nai should.
Well, there's no rule saying she can't, right? She encapsulates a lot of being a grandma.
Yeah.
Like, she's sweet and full of wisdom, but also she, like, is in charge of everybody, including her sister, who has to, like, live away from her husband to, like, I guess, care for Nai Nai.
And she's blunt, and, I mean, luckily she's cute, but if she wasn't, a lot of the stuff she says is just rude. And,
Yeah.
like, that's so grandma to me.
As soon as someone walks in the room, she's like, here's how you have to live your life. But she's so tiny, you're like, oh, that's very cute. Well, yeah, let's put her up on the mountain.
All right.
We wouldn't even have a show,
Right,
if it weren't for Nai Nai.
We'd be sitting here talking about, like, couscous if it wasn't for her.
What a nightmare. Mike, there's 2 slots left. Who do you got, bud?
The Nai Nai before Nai Nai, an ancient Chinese grandma who helped one of the best legends start when everybody else was telling young Mulan she couldn't do what she wants. Grandma was like, look, if you're going to do what you want, take this fucking cricket with you. It'll help. I know you want to be a boy. You know what? I'm just going to love you. And in that time, in that culture, that's pretty rare, but that's fucking grandma energy.
Is Mulan just Pinocchio?
Yeah, she also just wants to be a real boy.
She wants to be a real boy, yeah.
She's lying about who she really is. I'm going to put her on the maybe pile. I think that's a pretty strong one, but I want to see what else is out there.
That's
also, fair. I'm not super familiar with Grandma Mulan, but I know what you're describing, and it sounds like she's a solid lady.
She is.
So I have no ill will towards her. Ryan, who do you think should go up on the mountain?
I think because we're talking about movies, we have to talk about Aurora Greenway, who is Shirley MacLaine from 2 different movies. She was in Terms of Endearment, and then also there was a sequel called The Evening Star. Let's focus on Terms of Endearment. She's a grandma whose daughter has 2 kids, and the mom dies of cancer. And it's very like one of those weepy, million Kleenex box movies. But I think unlike movies like Beaches and shit like that, this one is truly, truly great. I think this is an actual 4-star movie. And Shirley MacLaine sort of had a career rebirth. Like, this is what she's now known for with this Aurora Greenway character.
Do you think it would have hurt the drama of that movie if the daughter gets cancer? But then at the end of the movie, she has not died. And then we say, also, she still hasn't died. 6 years later, she still hasn't died. Do you think that would hurt the drama of that movie in any way?
I think it would have been way, way better.
In Greg's head, grandparents exist to die.
Do they have some other role? It's like pets.
Yeah, they teach you about death.
Yeah, they just teach you about death. Sometimes you watch somebody go from virile to just like quaking and small, and then they die.
They also teach you about the gift cards for all the holidays you didn't realize existed.
Terms of Endearment also has a special place in my heart because when I was a kid, I remember my mom saying that Deborah Winger's kids reminded her of her kids. And there's like an 8-year-old boy and a 10-year-old boy. And then I watched it a long time ago, and really the only standout scene for the 2 kids is they're in line at the grocery store, and the mom lets them buy candy bars. And then the mom doesn't have enough money. And she looks at the kids and like, I'm sorry, I can't afford it. And the little boy, my little brother, says, that's okay, Mommy. I'll put my candy bar back. And the older son says, fuck that. I want my candy bar. And throws a tantrum in the grocery store. And that's what my mom thought of me.
And for that, she's going right up on the mountain.
All right.
Wow.
Ryan. And you know what, Mike? I forgot to give you your point earlier, and that's terrible. And then Ryan, that's your actual point right now. You gotta keep me on my game.
If we keep you on your game, you're gonna yell at us and not give us points.
Never ever comment on my game at all. That was a test, Ryan, and you passed. Congratulations.
If you're the passenger in a car and the driver passes the freeway exit, you say nothing.
Yeah.
Like you just be lost.
You'll drive 2 states away before you say anything. All right, Mike. There's 1 spot left.
There's a lot of pressure. I have a few possibilities, but I think a ringer, somebody who has had grandma energy since she was like a young hot thing.
BGE.
And it's always like it's a parental role, but you can be meaner and you can give the kids candy even when the parents wouldn't do it. But in The Princess Diaries 1 and 2 and possibly 3, Julie Andrews plays Anne Hathaway's grandma, the Queen of Monrovia. And just really walks that stern but loving line. But Julie Andrews is a grandma. Mary Poppins is a fucking grandma energy. The chick from Sound of Music is grandma energy. It's fucking Julie Andrews.
So you're just throwing out Julie Andrews?
No, I'm saying she is the grandma in the Princess Diaries movies.
I mean, she's always a grandma, but yes, her most iconic role, obviously,
is the Princess
Diaries 2, A Royal Engagement.
Well, I'm going to put that on the maybe pile, Ryan. This is a steal for you, I got to say.
Okay.
We want more iconic than the Princess Diaries.
I am going to, this one's a little more recent, I'm going to one-up Mike's Mulan and go with Moana.
Yes!
I'm going to go with Grandma Tala.
Yes!
Who makes everything happen, and just like perfect classic cartoon grandma, like old and looks feeble, but funny and spry. Granny is spry.
All right, I have Granny a little.
Is like kind of like loves that she has the reputation for being crazy.
Right. Because people leave her alone.
Yeah, thinks that's so cool. Tells Moana, like, you have to just be yourself. Like, there's nothing more dangerous than settling. Dude, there it is. Moana, such a good movie. And I'm always down to talk about it. Ryan. Who is on our Mount Rushmore of grannies?
Our Mount Rushmore of movie grannies is Grandma Gilmore from Happy Gilmore, Nai from The Farewell, Aurora Greenway from Terms of Endearment, and Tala from Moana.
Wow. What a great mountain. I cannot wait to gaze upon it. When we come back, we are going to get into talking about The Farewell. The Farewell is a powerful, thought-provoking, beautiful, intense, soulful tour de force, and probably most moviegoers have no idea what the hell it is. And it actually did well for an art house movie. Based on the real-life story of writer-director Lulu Wang and first relayed on our sister podcast, This American Life, they do good work over there. Please, give them a shot, everybody. The farewell tells the story of the young American Billy as she returns to China to say goodbye to her grandmother, Nai Nai, who has terminal cancer. The twist is that no one has told Nai Nai she is dying because that's not how they roll in China, and what unfolds is a story about the lies we tell our families and the weirdness inherent in every part of life, death, and ceremony across cultures. Every shot is beautiful to the point of literal distraction, the acting is superb, and the script is deft, alive, and real. Our turn to 2019 movies begins here, and it already feels like an amazing year for cinema. So, gentlemen, this is obviously a movie about truth and lies, but what is it ultimately saying about fibbing? Does the end of the movie declare a winner in the true v lies debate?
First of all, that was, like, farewell is probably blushing right now because that heartfelt intro you did. That was amazing. Yeah, I think that we are supposed to focus on the comedic, like the absurdity of the main lie.
Yeah.
But I do think the movie spends a lot of time not shining a light, but having in the background how we're all fucking lying to everyone all the time. You know, these are the people we're supposed to be closest to, and it's the most lying we do.
Yeah, it starts off with the phone call between Billy and Nene. She's just lying to her left and right about what is going on. And then, and she's the biggest character. She's like, you shouldn't lie to your family ever. But that's all she does because she doesn't want to tell them about the Guggenheim Fellowship. Like, you can always justify lying to your family because it's quote-unquote better for them.
Always better for them.
Doesn't
they are who you're worried about.
And doesn't the movie make the point, maybe it's too obvious to even say, but that the closer you are to somebody, the more you lie? Because, like, the more stuff they know about you, so then, like, yeah, you're just constantly layering in these very minor lies. We watch them lie to each other just very simply about where the other person is while having the initial phone call. And that's like our first impression of the movie.
I mean, it's not this family. It's not Chinese families. It's all families. Like, everyone wants to paint their own picture of themselves, even in somebody like a group this tight knit. There's a line early on in the movie where Billy doesn't know that her grandma's sick, but her parents do, and they're acting weird.
Yeah,
and her dad's just sitting out on the edge of the bed, and she says, "Have you been drinking?"
Yeah,
and there is a drunk scene later, but she says it in such a way where that's a secret and a lie that we tell each other that he clearly does or used to have a drinking problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like. Not all the way to the point, I guess, where it would be like a complete meltdown if he had another drink, but he clearly has alcohol issues that have been like addressed and discussed. And then we kind of watch him drink the rest of the movie.
Right.
It's why he went to China. Like,
yeah.
It's not, like, this is my mother dying is a perfect excuse for me to get shit-faced.
There is a scene during the wedding, which is like, the wedding is kind of perfect all throughout. But there is a scene actually during the wedding where Billy looks over at her dad, and she looks at like how many people are in the room, and she's like, "Do these people all know?" And he's like, "Actually, I think most of them don't know." And she looks down to the food, and you've just like now you like think of every small detail that you've seen so far, and she's just like, "Oh my God, this lie has been so big. Like, we actually had a wedding, everybody. They're like, most of the people here think it's a real thing. Like, this is such a huge lie."
And the face of the kids getting married shows how uncomfortable that lie is.
Yes.
That Japanese girlfriend is a fucking sport, man.
Okay. I have to agree with that. I want to see this movie from her perspective because she doesn't really speak much Chinese and she doesn't seem to understand a lot of what's going on. Obviously, she knows why she's there. How weird would that whole thing be for you? You're in the middle of this intense family drama. You know this lady's dying. She doesn't even know. You're pretending to get married to this guy.
If I were her, I would be pissed because even though it's all a lie, people still assume that me, this very attractive, awesome girl, would marry that chud over there.
Yeah.
Come on, people. What are we
that
doing?
Fucking goon.
And he's the one who looks freaking sad about it.
Yeah.
I'm the one who can put on a smile, a brave smile. He's the one who can't even look at me. It looks like he's going to cry every 10 seconds.
Maybe that's a secret lie, is right before they all found out and had to do the secret wedding, she broke up with him, and he's like, look, for sure, but first, can we do this?
Listen, baby, faux show, but
we do see... Go, Mike.
So the whole movie is like you have to lie a little lie, even though Billy is like Queen Truth and she's lying. I do think what we were talking about in the intro, even though, because that's part of the real story, but because it happens immediately, it's not in the middle of the credits that we find out the real Nene is still alive. It kind of feels like, oh, you should lie. Yes, this movie is pro-lying because it will prolong people's lives.
It did seem to work, right?
She was going to die. They cured her. She's still alive 6 years later.
They cured her with deceit. Okay, but I have another question, and I thought this would be hinted at in the movie. This is a theory I had from the trailer, and I thought it would be hinted at in the movie, but I think it's still possibly true. Nine has to know she's got cancer, right? She knows she's horribly sick. Everybody in her family comes to see her. She did the same thing for her dad. Everybody in China does this every time. You just play your part. When it is your turn for everyone to, like, quote, lie to you, you also lie to them by being like, oh, I have no idea what's going on here.
I think the scene that we would have to focus on in order to figure out what you're asking is they're all at the table watching her read the doctored doctor note.
Yeah.
The family goes in and to somewhere. They have some, like, forgery place that they know.
Which they do in, like, 2 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, let's go to our local forger. And they change it from "you definitely have cancer, bitch" to what is it, like, ghostly?
A benign shadow.
Benign Shadows, which is an awesome death metal band name. And so she reads it, and they all watch her read it, and she puts it down, and she's like, "I told you." And everything about that is it's confusing. It's hard to know if she knows or not.
Well, that's the first time we hear the phrase "benign shadows." The sister's the one who talks to the doctor and comes out, and then Nine is like, "What does that mean?" And the sister's like, "It means it's fine." And that's the moment when she goes, okay.
Right?
I'm going to roll with this stuff. Like,
they do the test, and then they take your sister into another room, and then your sister comes out and says something you've never heard before, that you're 100% fine because of benign shadows, which doesn't, like, convince you at all. You're like, wait, what? And then she's like, no, you're fine. Let's go home. Everybody in the family's going to come say hello to you.
You know what term you could have used? No cancer. Like, that one would have summed it up. But no, benign shadows.
A smaller moment like the forged copy moment where everybody's staring at her is when the married couple is taking absurdly bad wedding pictures, and for some reason Billy and Nine are there, and they're
Billie
talking.
Eilish. Sorry,
you nailed it.
Shut up.
Give him a point.
I did.
Billy looks sad, and Nina's like, oh, when you get married, I'll throw you an even bigger banquet. And so it's heart-crushing for Billy to hear that, and for the audience to hear that. But also it's like, was there a catch in that? Like, is Nine like fully like, I gotta say this, and fuck, my actual grandkid I care about, I'm not gonna be there for her wedding.
I have to say, I like that I very strongly believe that Nine knows, and I really, really appreciate that the movie doesn't give any indication, because I think that would ruin it in a way. Ultimately the audience is lied to by Nine in the same way that her whole family is, which is she has to know, but there's never a scene where even, like, she's in the bathroom and she looks in the mirror for an extra second and, like, sighs. There's nothing like that, because she is so good in her role in that family that it convinces even the movie.
I think maybe that's just part of, like, being that older generation. Not in America at this current time, but in previous times and in other countries, it's sort of being smarter than everyone, but letting the last generation think that they're the first person to figure this shit out. And so she's just sitting there smiling. The way that she's sitting there smiling while Billy and the doctor are speaking English with her right there, and she just has this goobery smile on, which means she either just got kicked in the head by a mule, or she knows exactly what's happening, and she's faking it the entire time.
Because their faces aren't like, this is a normal conversation. Their faces are both so sad. And she's like, I guess they're just hitting on each other. Okay. The kids love sadly hitting on each other, which is true online.
In America, they hit on each other so weird.
Kids just love being sad together. All right. When we come back, we are going to get to a segment for just our Patreon listeners. And regular listeners, I got to tell you, this is not to upset you. It's just is true. It's going to be trivia.
Oh, come on. Yeah, that's so unfair.
That's just it's luck of the draw. That's how it goes.
Also, Greg, I don't know if I'm allowed to tell the normal listeners this, but most shows will thank their Patreon listeners by name. We're going to call out all of our non-Patreon listeners. We're going to name everyone.
We fucking know who you are.
Louis K., Reginald R., Grandma.
When we come back, the accounting begins. I thought about taking the song that I sang for the Pop Filter Hall of Fame when we didn't have the soundtrack on the tram and playing it, but I thought that would be dirty pool.
I mean, plus you have to give the tram controller, the conductor, you have to give him that cassette. It only plays cassettes.
And he really requires like a 24 hours of notice so he can listen to it and make sure it's okay.
Yeah. He wants to master it, check
Basically,
the levels.
he wants to make sure it's this song. If it's not, he won't play it.
But still writes out a long rejection letter.
He's not one of those rom-com tram conductors who lets you do whatever the fuck you want.
Is it over?
Nope, not yet. 15 seconds left. Wait.
Welcome to the Pop Filter Hall of Fame.
And also we get to let him talk. Why the conductor just gets to talk?
Is it weird that that's all he's ever said to us and we don't know his name? He doesn't say...
No, it's Professor Popov and stuff.
Well, here we are, our voices hushed in the vestibule of our palatial Pop Filter Hall of Fame.
There's tourists in here looking at all the statues.
Yeah.
So we don't want to interrupt that.
We don't want to draw too much attention to ourselves. Now them all scramble over here with their big sodas, spilling them this way and that.
And I love how they all went for the souvenir cup. They paid the extra $10.
We'll use this cup every day. I promise.
I will give it to my grandchildren.
I'm going to get married in this cup. Well, guys, we have come to perhaps put new entries into the Pop Filter Hall of Fame. This is the Hall of Fame for things that we love, right? The things that we're interested in.
But we decided to record it and have everyone listen to it.
Yeah, because we want to expose everybody to it.
Right.
As the judge said to us recently, we just are always trying to expose ourselves to people.
And we get to learn a little bit about each other. Mike last week nominated The Birth of a Nation movie just because he loves all the messages and the characters. And
that was a little disturbing.
It was weird.
I like film history, okay? And I'm not gonna put today's rules on it. I like what I like.
Man, they took that movie to the White House. Like, that movie was shown at the White House. Several presidents have listed it as like a foundational movie to them.
when it came out.
Yeah.
I really thought you meant today.
Oh, not yet, Ryan. Not yet. But you just wait. When all that Stephen Miller stuff came out, that like it's not just that he sounds like he's alt-right. He's like
straight up a racist nationalist.
And there was just too much news, and so people were just like, whatever. He doesn't have to leave the White House. We don't care. Just do what you can. Just put on Birth of a Nation again.
And they also said, like, well, he's not the most racist there. Like,
yeah.
he's probably...
He's really helping to attenuate some of Trump's baser impulses. Well, that's steered right into politics. Let's take it back to what's important to us, politics. Ryan, what do you want to see enshrined in the Pop Filter Hall of Fame?
I gotta say, guys, this Hall of Fame covers all of pop culture.
Yeah.
But musicians have had a really hard time getting in.
It's been tough.
And so many musicians have been nominated from our youth, us, the three of us, like growing up together, and they just haven't had what it takes. I figured out a musician.
Wait, hang on, is it?
Of course it is not Harry Belafonte's hit song A.O., covered by Red Hot Chili Peppers. There's one hip-hop artist that I think is in the exact middle of all three of our Venn diagrams.
Okay.
He has been a hero of ours forever. Greg, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, that you and I were in a band just after high school, and we covered his song in the band. That hip-hop artist is MC Scat Cat, and I really don't know if there's another musical artist that is more important to the three of us as people
than MC Scat Cat. Now, MC Scat Cat, of course, known for a lot of things, but probably chief among them is Opposites Attract.
I would say he is the greatest devil's advocate of all time. No matter what you say, he will argue that he enjoys the opposite of that.
That's what won him over. I think he's most well known for being like the biggest Seth Rogen of his generation, of just like playing way outside his field and landing Paula Abdul.
Absolutely, yes.
And
or Pete Davidson.
And I'm sure that like a lot of people talk about sexual awakenings related to Simba or Robin Hood, but don't you think MC Scat Cat probably awaken the sexualities of
the hottest
children?
Cat in animated history, for sure.
Certainly.
My God, have you guys talked to ladies that are our age or a little bit older about Robin Hood?
It's crazy.
They
You need fucking waiters on to get through that slush.
That guy is a beefcake.
That Robin Hood taught some people just that they were sexual. Taught some people what their sexual preference was, like for gender. Taught some people their sexual preference for like animals. Like a lot of awakenings took place all at the same time, thanks to Robin Hood. Swag, dude. Much respect to Robin Hood out there, straight killing the ladies. So Ryan, Robin Hood is your.
I'm going to do Robin Hood. I'm going to do Kevin Costner as Robin Hood.
Kevin Costner is Robin Hood.
No, mine is Master of Ceremonies, Scatterick Catterick.
MC Scat Cat. I just want to see that statue.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. I hope it moves 2 steps forward, but then it also moves 2 steps
Like
back.
it's a video game and you have to open a door in a temple. You have to move it to a square.
Mike, do you have someone as influential as MC Scat Cat?
And by the way, Mike, before you go, I will not be bringing my home MC Scat Cat statue to the Hall of Fame. We will be building a new one. Please
You have to
continue.
build a new one.
Oh,
Yes.
not very popular.
But yours is carved out of some mystery material. I think you can map out this person. If you listen to one Oliver podcast, thank you. But you can hear us gush more and more about this fellow. And I think specifically recently, it's not just we love him. We were realizing how much we love him. It's become meta conversationals about everything this dude's done. Sure, we fell in love with him when he was just a restaurateur come UFC fighter dating Monica Geller on Friends. And then maybe we all wanted to say everybody was Money Baby because early influence and realized how fucking lame that was. But then fucking Johnny Favreau decided to be like, oh, here's the best Star Wars thing in modern history. Oh, you want fucking live action Disney movies? Here's the good one. Oh, you want Iron Man, motherfuckers? It's Tony Stark. It's Robert Downey Jr.
You want Will Ferrell as an adult man raised by elves? Boom, got you covered right
Yes.
there. Elf, just picking up the. I thought that was where you were going.
Do you want your idea for a movie to be as like gently, delicately, no decisions made, directed as possible? You call Johnny Favs, and like I say that as a joke, but like at this point, after we talked about it a little bit before Mandalorian, but at this point, we have to say that like he might be good at his job.
Yeah, dude. It used to just be he was one of those directors who made sure the camera was on.
Yeah.
And then was like, all right,
The Ron Howard of our generation.
say the lines from the script. We'll record them, and then that'll be a day.
So I think Ron Howard used to want to be the new Spielberg. With the kinds of stories he told and do nothing. I think Jon Favreau is the clear like torch taker for telling like, here's how you just tell a fucking A to Z story. It doesn't have to go backwards, Christopher Nolan. It can just be like a well told where you care about the characters.
I just wonder if he made Chef, and that might be his Schindler's List. Does he have the desire or the ability to tackle that like something that like actually even like Argo level important?
Yeah. And does he have the desire?
Yeah.
That's the real question, because he seems to just enjoy making fun movies so much, and he really is so good at it. I mean, this current crop of like pop culture movies, they may not be art or whatever, but they're certainly artfully pop culture like. I mean, they're the best pop culture that we've had in a long time.
I just think that when we go to call him this generation Steven Spielberg, I love Jon Favreau. I really like what he's doing, but then it makes me think about why Spielberg was great, you know? And I need to see a little bit more from him, and Mandalorian is it's a good start, but like the thematic importance is still not there, you know?
Yeah, maybe he should make a movie that doesn't have action figures associated with it.
Right. But then
No, I mean, all I
love
care-
my Chef action figure.
All I
you even got the Sofia Vergara, and that one's so rare.
Yeah.
But you took it out of the package.
Yeah, come on, dude.
I wanted to play with it. It's Sofia Vergara.
Yeah, you.
Ugh.
Boo! Gross. All right.
Here's another chef's kiss.
Well, that I think is a strong intro. But if there's something even more important to us than the works of Jon Favreau, the works of MC Scat Cat,
Cool segment, guys.
it would probably be something that we all enjoy listening to. Something that informs us, something that entertains us, something that we work hard on all the time. I think what we need to put in our Hall of Fame is podcasts.
Okay, this is a full-on I Love Lamp moment. Greg had nothing to nominate and looked around the room at the equipment in the studio.
There's so many things around the room to look at that would not be podcasts.
I But I invite you both to look at my notes.
It does say podcast.
My notes. And not podcast. I don't love podcast. I love podcasts. You guys, where would we be? Could you imagine how ridiculous this would be if the three of us talking like this, if it weren't also a podcast?
We used to do it. We would go to coffee shops and just scream at each other about pop culture.
But
All
now,
right, 10 minutes are up. We have to switch topics.
Also, we had a bigger audience then than we do now. The people in that coffee shop.
but we made those people listen to us.
They did, yeah.
People are choosing to listen to us. But it's not just
so
our
glad.
podcast.
I thought you were going to say movie of the year, and I was going to vomit. But
No.
I guess I'm glad it's beyond
Right.
that.
It's podcasts, you guys. Well, it's time to vote.
This is a good one.
Let's get to it. All right, MC Scat Cat. Ryan, do you vote for MC Scat Cat?
Hold on. It's MC Scat Cat, Jon Favreau, and podcast. And I only get 2 votes, but I could have 0.
Yeah.
I could just not
You
vote
could
for any
vote
of
for
this.
nothing if you want to.
I vote yes for MC Scat Cat.
Mike?
I want to be true to myself, and I don't want to just play the game. I vote yes for MC Scat Cat.
Listen, it's not that we think MC Scat Cat is the most important thing in pop culture, but he was very important to us. And so, yes, of course, MC Scat Cat's going to be in our Pop Filter Hall of Fame.
Also, based on that heartfelt speech, Mike, I think that when MC Scat Cat gets the Mark Twain Comedy Award, you should introduce him. That was really heartfelt and good.
All right, so that is, we've each used a vote. So now we each have 1 vote left. It has to be unanimous moving forward. Jon Favreau. Mike, do you vote for your own entry, Mr. Jon Favreau?
Sometimes you just go in with a hard class. So no.
Wow.
Take that, Jon Favreau. Ryan, do you vote for Jon Favreau?
Also, Greg, real quick, Mike would like to wonder if I got a point for MC Scat Cat.
Oh, of course. I'm sorry, Mike. That's
Thanks,
my bad.
Mike. I vote yes.
You vote yes for Jon
I
Favreau.
vote yes.
Well, my vote is meaningless except for as a man of honor, I have to vote honorably. And I really do think I want Jon Favreau to be in the Pop Filter Hall of Fame, so I'm going to vote yes for Jon Favreau.
I feel like I've been hoodwinked somehow.
Mike, your own non-casting of a vote excludes your own pick, Jon Favreau,
I read the room differently.
in a classic Mike mess around. Podcasts, Mike, would you have voted for podcasts?
I would not be who I am or with the people I'm with without podcasting, much to everybody's chagrin.
Ryan, if you had an extra vote and Jon Favreau didn't hoover yours up?
No, I think no. But since it can come up, after we do 2019, we're going to do 2013, and so podcasts can come up again. If it does, Mike, you are in charge of designing the statue, okay?
For podcasts?
Yeah. I know it was Greg's nominee, but since you're all about it and you voted for it, you have to design what that statue looks like.
I can do it.
Is it just Jon Favreau, but from Crooked Media?
The other Jon Favreau?
Yeah, it's the other Jon Favreau, but with Ira Glass's glasses.
Which is what we serve cocktails in at our Pop Filter Hall of Fame bar.
Well, as you can see, listeners, it's very hard to get in the Pop Filter Hall of Fame, which is why the only person we had get in this time was MC Scat Cat, of course. Well, the tram is only one way, so we're going to have to walk back to the studio. But while we do, why don't you stick around for this next segment? Comparing and contrasting the United States and China is very important to this movie. Regardless of which country wins, how does the movie do at setting the stage for the conversation?
I think it sets the stage so well, and it's like a good hook, even if it is a Chinese movie, for everybody pointing out in the movie how American Billy is.
Uh-huh.
And her pointing out how she's not, she truly doesn't feel comfortable in either place.
Yeah.
And putting that weight on one character's shoulders and the main character's shoulders, I think is super important and smart and gets away with, because she doesn't want to be one or the other. It makes it so the movie's not saying, it's better to be American or it's better to be Chinese.
Uh-huh.
Everything is hard. That's what this movie says. Everything is hard no matter where you're from.
And we get that a lot with generation conversations. Like a lot of generations will have this conversation, you're worse, I'm better. But it just, everybody is equally bad and good. This movie has that, but then also brings in the country conversation as well. Mm-hmm. And I think what like the master stroke of this movie is that Lulu Wang understood that her idea is good. Like that story that she has is awesome. But if she sold it to Paramount and Kate Hudson and Matthew McConaughey were going through this, there'd be so many twists and turns and bad guys and like somebody falls in a well and can't handle that. But instead of doing that, what we're going to do is we're going to stretch this idea over 90 minutes and then just have conversations. And so what I get to do is I get to have people talk while this absurd thing slowly plays out. And so I think that like how Mitch Hedberg's joke about how cakes are just like candle holders, like that the perfect that's what it is that like the idea is this cake, but really it's the candles throughout that all the conversations that like we get to hear. And there's clearly no winner about any of the conversations.
No.
It's just slow played conversation.
Everybody is just saying nonsense about like when they're like comparing America. America is not a place that just hands the keys to the church to everybody. And China is definitely not the place where you just reach down on the ground and pick up $1 million. So the conversations they're having are just like when you're a kid and you talk about whose dad could beat up who else's dad.
Right,
like
exactly.
They're childish conversations. And what I appreciate about the movie is that because it is set in China, it is about how some parts of Chinese culture are ridiculous, but it portrays them very much as just being ridiculous in a human way.
Right.
People are so flipping absurd, and everything we do is absolutely absurd. It's more obvious when you're an American and you're watching stuff go down in China, but all this stuff plays back on how deeply weird and twisted and broken America is as well.
Yeah, well, it's like anytime a religious person sees another religion, they're like, they believe 70 virgins? That's crazy. It's like, you worship a baby. Like, so...
You're talking about Baby Yoda here?
Baby Yoda
You worship
came down
Baby Yoda.
Baby Yoda died for your sins.
I have Baby Yoda as the wallpaper on my computer right now, and sometimes I'm like closing the internet and Baby Yoda's staring at me, and I'm like, I'm sorry, Baby Yoda.
I just like, you have that, like, so now you'll pull up your phone to do nothing. Just look at your wallpaper. Just admire the background.
Just because Baby Yoda's there.
I think that the church conversation, so they're at dinner and there is this like dope-ass, slow-moving Lazy Susan with all this food that is in the foreground.
I want it so bad.
And so often in this movie, food is in the foreground, right?
Yeah.
It's this thing that like, and we can tell that Billy's an outsider because she rarely eats, where if you're, down and Chinese and family, then food is such a big part about every hangout. But we have this Lazy Susan moving around. And we get into like a sort of a catty fight about America versus China, and it's, let's say, Billy's aunt versus Billy's mom. And they talk about this church that they were given the keys to so Billy could come in and play piano. And that's a story that like is supposed to represent America. Here's what America is. You just get the keys to the castle. And
that's the America of like, as it's being represented in like 2016.
Right, exactly, yes. And Billy, who is an outsider no matter what, wherever she goes, America or China, she is an outsider, is definitely American, right? That's how she probably feels, and that's how definitely people think about her. But still, she cannot let that conversation go on without saying, that's not how all of America is.
Yeah.
And so she does sort of play devil's advocate in that, like, your guys' stupid, like, bullshit catty fight is not worth lying right now and not worth, like, one-upping each other. Just like, everybody shut the fuck up,
Yeah.
Well, because that's like a generational and a cultural stance, because it does feel, just based on this movie and other movies, very Chinese to do the one-up. And Billy's just like, all of that is bullshit. What if we just talk about everything that's good and bad about both countries?
Right.
And everybody's like, no, we don't want to do that. Like, so it's not just devil's advocating to keep a fight going. She's trying to say, you're all full of shit.
But, I mean, at a certain point, it becomes a roast battle. And, like, the aunt is sending her, like, is saying that China's the best and you can make $1 million no matter what. If you invent the jump to conclusions, Matt, you will make $1 million.
This guy made $1 million.
Right. But Billy's mom will not let it drop. You're sending your kid to America to go to college, and then the conversation dies. And then Billy's mom is like, but, you are sending your kids to America to go to college.
Yeah,
like,
dude.
It's just a war of words.
This lady is in the bag for America because that's how she built her entire life. And mostly what it is she feels very guilty that she and the husband, who is the son of Nai Nai.
Right.
That they went together to America. And that's a heartbreaking theme that replays all throughout this movie, which is just that families fucking move apart from each other. And it's emotionally very difficult. Like, you have this little baby, and this baby grows up and one day moves to America? Like 8,000 miles away? How do you do that as like Nai Nai? Like, how do you, like, that must be so difficult.
Billy's dad's brother, Billy's uncle. Billy's uncle and Billy's dad they seem very close. They get drunk together. They bit together. Like, there is this rapport. But Billy's uncle also won't let an opportunity drop to say that I didn't leave China and I was just with my mom and my family the entire time. You know, like that's a bragging moment for him.
Yeah, and they say at another point that they both had not been in China at the same time for the last 25
years.
Yeah, because that's what's even more fucked up in Familial is he did leave. He just went to Japan, which is far, but way closer than America.
Yeah,
because I think they have a sister. Like, it's a hard trying to figure. It's a big cast figure out who's related to who.
And they don't hold your hand with that. They don't spoon feed you who everybody is.
Right.
But there's one woman who did stay and took care of it, and she kind of just rolls her eyes when the brothers are arguing who lived farther, and she's like, I'm just been here the whole fucking time.
The theme of the amount of self-sacrifice that some of the Chinese relatives make for one another, the whole idea that Nai Nai's sister doesn't live with her husband and instead lives with and takes care of her big sister.
That's a big one, is that Americans are selfish because they move and do whatever they want outside of family, but then the Chinese sort of like overly dedicate their life, you know, and which one is right? They're both wrong.
Yeah, find some sort of balance,
right.
blah, blah, blah.
Here's how movies work.
It really 100% showed just that people are so absurd. Like, everything they do is just a bunch of people trying to figure out how to make some sense of a world that is absolutely bonkers and doing such a bad job.
And, like, the reason to go see The Farewell, like, the reason that it's awesome, I would say, number one is you will find yourself saying, oh, that's my family, more than you will say, oh, that's weird because they're from a different country.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like, these commonalities, like, there's no boundaries for these.
It's only the very, very surface things that are different at all. You know, they have a different way of doing weddings. They have a different way. But besides that, it's absolutely 100% still the same emotions.
It's still a matriarch in charge, and everybody, like, is hiding their emotions and lying about everything.
Yeah, lying so much that it's crazy.
And that's what's great about this being like a smaller A24 movie versus like if Fox Searchlight tried to put it out, is that would really hammer home, like, see how we're all the same with annoying fucking speeches. And this just lets it
there'd be a Rod Stewart song
out.
that, like, where he's just singing about the exact things you're seeing on screen.
Speed round.
All right, we are out of time, so we have to get to a speed round. We hit on this briefly, but dude, how crazy would it be for that fake bride? Are they really married? Are they like husband and wife now?
Well, all you have to do is hire someone who did not go online and get their, like, priest degree or whatever it is.
Or just like do the cross the fingers in the back, but like
oh, that's legally binding.
How
now?
did she get talked into this?
Mike, do you have yours? Do you have your priest degree?
Yeah, I have my priest degree. I went to seminary.
So we cannot fake wedding with Mike up at the altar. Like,
yeah,
that means that we're actually married.
It's a prank I do all the time. It's like, you guys want to get fake married? And then I go, ha, real married, bitches.
And it's so crazy that, like, this very big legal binding thing can just, like, if we say the wrong words around Mike, Greg, that's it for us. Like, you and I are married.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, then I also have to trick you to signing the stuff.
And again, the idea in this movie, the way it's done, as it's nobody knows that it's a fake wedding. There's like a handful of people who know that it's not a real wedding. And like, seriously, there's 150 people who like go to China or travel from far away in China just to come to this fake thing.
Not using it as a goodbye to the grandma, but like, oh, here's another wedding that we have to go to.
And that's why, yeah, exactly. They don't even know that they're supposed to say farewell. And that's why it's such a good point, Ryan, you had about it being like a cake into which you just set these candles. Because like, that's so delicious that you don't have to garnish it that much, you know? You just put flaming wax on the top. Speaking of the wedding, is there a more depressing pop culture wedding than this?
The first thing that comes to mind is not a wedding, but a dinner before. It's Rachel getting married. It's Anne Hathaway's meltdown toast. That is, like, I threw up in the theater watching that. Like, that was awful.
She calls herself Shiva the Destroyer, which makes you eye roll, and then she becomes Shiva the Destroyer the rest of that toast.
But typically...
I think about that all of the time.
Typically, terrible pop culture weddings are so comically terrible that it's fine.
We have literally seen worse toasts than that, though.
In our real life?
Yeah. We
Yeah.
have for sure seen worse than
Just that sweaty friend who goes, I guess I'll give 1 minute before, and you're like, you don't have to, stop it.
Why does that happen? Why does somebody decide not to do it for months and then at the last second decide to do it?
Because their natural talent will carry them through.
The pressure of the eyes. But so I've been to a pretty traditional Chinese wedding, and now I like the movie put it in context for me because I thought it was these people are weirdos, and it's just an ongoing set of bad toasts. I think that's just Chinese tradition. Get up if you want, but I think,
and you might not
feel like an American.
You might not do a toast. You might do a music number. Two people just fucking did a dance. They just did a dance. They weren't even lip syncing. They just did a dance.
Also,
I didn't know that was an option. I'm doing that from now on.
Here's what you can also do if you did not prep for anything. I love the couple. I love them together. Congratulations.
Yeah.
And sit the fuck down.
And peace out.
The less you prepared, the longer your toast is. Why is that?
Honestly, have you ever heard a toast that was too short?
It's also crazy to me because every time I'm asked to give a toast, I have a mental breakdown. My anxiety just goes, and I spend so much time on it. And these motherfuckers think that they could just get up and give one.
Or do a
Stupid
dance,
assholes.
you jerks. Okay, so that big rainbow structure that they went by several times, I kept going back and forth. Was that really cool or tacky or both?
Oh, I love the acting in the backseat, the graduate ending of the two actresses, but also I love the camera pointing outside because everything in that area looks cool. It's like where we live, but slightly different, and it was really interesting to look at.
The rainbows look awesome to me, but they also look like they built them 40 years ago and have not been maintaining them. Why not? That's a cool structure.
like that McDonald's in Downey. That place is dirty.
Come on, Downey.
It used to be awesome.
Get your stuff together. Tag yourself in the drinking game from the reception. So I will go first. I am the Japanese bride who doesn't understand the rules, and so because even though she loses every time,
everybody just lets it
nobody
slide.
makes her drink. That's me.
I will be the guy next to the groom who, no matter what happens, I'm pointing at the groom and saying, "Oh, motherfucker, you got a drink."
They're gonna kill that dude.
Yes, dude.
They absolutely killed that guy.
And also, in a drinking game, I become police force. I grab a baton. I'm like, everyone has to drink when they're supposed to drink.
It lines up, Ryan, that you're the guy next to the groom because I feel very much like the groom where I think I'm great at the game and understand it and just keep fucking losing and have to drink until... And then it's my fault that I took my pants off and shit all over somebody else's refrigerator.
Not in, but all over?
All over.
One last thing I want to talk about in this speed round, which is this is a movie about China, and these are very polarized times with China. I thought what this movie did is strive to be apolitical and achieved that, if that is something that can actually happen in our current state. And I think the way it achieved that is by highlighting the Chinese people and not the Chinese government.
Yes.
But is there any level on which we feel like it's inappropriate not to bring up the fact that that China's having a moment right now, especially with Hong Kong or any of that?
Yeah. The whole time I was like, fucking tariffs screwing over our farmers. This is horse shit.
Well, you were sitting in a pile of horse shit, so you're just being accurate. As of this recording, we are in Watchmen HBO fever. And Watchmen is doing a lot of stuff about our current society and political. You don't have to. I love that it is, and I'm rethinking everything I think because of the show, but there's also other shows that don't have to. There's so many Chinese people who aren't I love fascism, fuck Hong Kong, fuck Daryl Morey. There's so many people just living their lives, and we need their stories. Just like if you were to do a story about Americans right now, it's not all MAGA or anti-MAGA the entire time.
Yeah, I feel like so often regular folks are pitted against each other because they happen to be from one country or the other. And I think it is fair that this movie is not about people who are politically inclined, and so it's not about politics.
And
it's that hidden. This is how you make rural Americans who don't care about China in that way care. Is they're people. Is that remember how they're just people. I think that's super important. And the more you overtly politicize something, the less they're just people goes.
The vast majority of people in America and China and I don't know, like North Korea, South Korea,
Russia.
All these people just have normal ass lives where they're not freaking out every day about this side or this side, you know?
Yeah, and it's nice to be in touch with that and not just like we're all some part of weird teams where we don't even really agree with people who are on our team anyway.
Right, exactly, yeah.
All right, well, I'm going to tabulate these scores. When we come back, I will give you a winner, and then we'll talk about how we think Farewell is going to stack up against the other 2019 movies right on the other side of this break. I have tabulated the scores, and I put them into my skadoosh machine.
Skadoosh.
And I now have the results. Mike, you scored 23 points, buddy.
It's okay.
That's okay.
23 skadoosh.
But Ryan, 23 skadooshed it up. But Ryan, you scored 28.
All right.
And so you are the Farewell King. And that will be your title henceforth. And also, of course, you will be best friend. But as we look ahead to the other shows about 2019 movies, how do you think Farewell stacks up against them?
I think it is going to be just like it was in the theaters. It's going to be a little sleeper hit. I think once we know what the bracket is, we're going to argue, and then it's going to be Farewell versus whatever, and we're like, oh, it's the fucking Farewell. Like, I think it has a lot of punch power in its quiet little story.
We haven't even seen a lot of the movies that might make the bracket.
Yeah,
like, we have
that's
not
crazy.
seen Irishman. We have not seen Marriage Story.
But we hear through the ether that these are like amazing movies, right?
Right.
Both of those.
But what I'm concerned about, and by like concerned I mean like hopeful, like I don't actually care about any of this, is that they're gonna be great and we're gonna love them and appreciate them. But are they the Farewell? Like, is this movie the assassin that comes around and just shivs everyone to the top?
I personally feel so warmly to this movie. Like, this movie I like more than a lot of the movies we've watched for all of the seasons of Movie of the Year. And not just from a technical standpoint, but this movie has so much warmth and heart and soul to it that you just feel very positively about it. And I wonder how much that will help. If something is, you know, like The Irishman, I could see being like precise and great, but maybe not having quite the love and warmth in it that this does, you know? Is 2019 a good year for movies? I feel like maybe it is.
I think literally every year is a good year. I think that there's no bad year.
If you choose like 8 movies,
right,
you're going to see
those
8.
are 8 great movies. And I think that 2019's 8th best can compete with any other year's 8th best.
Yeah. I guess this show is kind of about this, but like pop culture by and large just kind of focuses on the wrong movies. And I'm not saying the Marvel movies. Those are good movies. We should focus on those as well.
Green Books.
But it's the Green Books of the world. It's like they're making a movie almost as good as Farewell several times a year. And nobody knows what they're even fucking called.
I mean, think about how Green Book had a conversation about culture versus culture and then the Farewell. And like, they should not both be called movies.
Yeah.
Like, they shouldn't be in the same... Not genre, but medium.
Yeah, Green Book is like a trashy TV show compared to this, the pinnacle of art. Well, I guess we think that it's probably going to do pretty well. But that's why we do the shows, guys, because you can't tell ahead of time. It gets wild and wacky out there.
It's also hard because of Adam Driver. Like, 4 of his movies are going to make the top 4.
Yeah.
So what do we do with that, you know?
Maybe they should have taken some of the notes.
I mean, if
and put in some more white people like Adam Driver.
as Awkwafina.
Just walk by in the back.
If our 2019 final is Noah Baumbach's Marriage Story versus Rise of Skywalker, is that going to surprise anyone? Those 2 Adam Driver joints.
These guys have very weird, peculiar tastes. All right. Well, Ryan, you are the winner.
Yes.
So, Mike, do me a favor. Let's both of us get on out of here. And if you can just do whatever you want with your time as winner of the show, Ryan.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Waka, 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 waka.
I'm going to cozy up to the bar, and I'm going to make myself a drink. Oh, hello there, audience. I didn't see you there. I'm going to pour myself a cocktail, and I'm going to talk about... No, I'm not going to talk about... hello, yes. That it was my decision to only wear a diaper right now, and I appreciate your reaction. Here to, and look at this bar, here to, let's say, talk about websites we like, is the one, the only, Captain Morgan.
It's me, Captain Morgan. How are you?
You did it, and I see that you are putting one foot on everything in the room.
That's how we do it. That's how they do it over here at Captain Morgan.
You're just
it has nothing to
discovering
do
things.
with my one leg that's medically shorter than the other.
So it's not a peg leg, it's
It's just short.
So you're like half an ET then.
It's just one half ET, one half pirate, all sexual energy.
By the way, Captain Morgan, I heard a joke. ET is the abbreviation of what term?
Extra
Two short legs.
2 short legs.
Do you like that?
If I had 2 short legs, they'd be the same size because I've got the one leg shorter than the other.
Would you rather have 2 short peg legs or 2 normal human legs?
I'd want 2 bionic legs.
2 bionic legs.
Yeah.
But doesn't that make it unfair for the rest of the pirates?
I want those cool blade legs that guy that killed his girlfriend had. Remember that? He ran around the track and we loved him. And then it turned out that he shot his girlfriend to death.
I love hearing a story where we're like, oh, he has bionic legs. And this is probably the last time we will ever hear from this person.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. And the websites that I'm talking about are yourpopfilter.com, where you find all the great material these guys put out all the time. And then, of course, amazon.com/yourpopfilter, where you can shop just like regular Amazon for your peg legs and blade legs and all such.
All
And
your leg needs.
these guys get a couple of doubloons out of your purchase.
And when we get the doubloons, we're not going to spend them on things we like. We're just going to bury them, I guess, right?
Well, I guess you could do it. You could do it any way you want. Bury them under a big X, and then later you can take your same friends and go uncover them.
Wait, they don't bury and then draw the X? They find X's?
God, you have to find the big X to put the treasure. It's a pirate's secret.
Thank you, Captain
Sometimes
Morgan.
you get halfway down. There's more treasure in there. You're like, crab apples.
Good pirate phrase. Here to tell us about our other podcast is the one, the only, Jack Daniels.
Hold on. How are you doing today?
Jack, you have let yourself go, I have noticed.
Well, I mean, we drink just fucking alcoholic corn syrup for years. It's
sorry.
a hard life.
Alcoholic horse syrup. And do you mean for horses or made with horses?
Well, you don't want to know. You know what I'll say? A half dozen of the others. Baker's dozen in one hand.
What food do you
All
eat?
right. What food? I mostly corn mash.
So,
I
like,
scoop it right out of the still before it turns to booze.
do they get pissed off about that?
Nah, I mean, I sold them my name rights. They sold me their corn rights.
And you said that not only do you only eat corn mash, but you do a dance called the corn mash. Can we see that now?
Yeah, you put your
Left foot
in. You put your left foot out. You mash up some corn. And
you have the
fall
gout.
on your butt. Yeah, well, your corn and booze is straight to the gout. Cream corn, it'll do it.
Now, your gout has gangrene. Is that a normal situation?
No, that's you had to really pay extra for that one.
You paid extra money to have that situation.
Yeah, it's pretty high end, top 1% gangrene gout.
I'm going to ask you to tell us about some podcasts, and I do not want you to say random ones. I specifically mean Superhero Hour in the OCD, okay?
Oh, yeah, it feels that you got my number.
Yeah, I get how this bit goes.
Number 7. So Pop Filter Podcast is what you want?
Yes, please.
Current?
Yes, current.
No.
Tell us about Netflix.
Some of the ones from
They
the vault.
find all the best movies on Netflix. So you're gonna listen. Which one is this movie of the year? You're gonna listen to Superhero Hour every week. They talk about all the movies, TV shows based on comic books, and the skinny one likes to say comic book properties. And then you're gonna turn left and listen right to the OCD, where these California boys talk about the best coast, the show, the OC.
Thank you so much. Go see a doctor, please. Here to tell us about our social media is the one, the only, Zima.
Hey, it's me, Zima.
Hey,
Hello.
Zima, how are you?
Hello, I've got a little something for you.
Do you do that thing where you change S's to Z's?
That's what I'm trying to do. It comes with the territory.
So you have to tell us about social media. Am I doing that
Social media. If you love social media the way I do, zesty, effervescent, then you're going to want to go over to Twitter and look for yourpopfilter.sham. Zom. Right? Right. Just at your pop filter. And then also that's what you do on Instagram. Instagram. Because of Zima. All right, I'll Z myself out.
Oh my god. I can't believe how much I wanted somebody to stay so much longer and leave so much quicker. Zima's weird. Mike, come back up here.
What?
Did you meet
Is this
Zima?
Mike? Mike S. Mike?
Yeah, Mike, did you meet Zima?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I'm intrigued.
Shut up, go away. Here to tell us about how to contact us is the one, the only, Natty Ice.
Hey, y'all boys, how y'all doing today?
Jesus.
You ready to get crunked?
Natty Ice, yes, we're ready to get crunked.
You ever just make a tower, see how much you can throw your friend through that tower?
You don't have to put the megaphone against my ear. What are you doing?
Oh, no, I have, you know that disease where you don't give a shit about other people's feelings?
Yeah.
I got that, so I'm never going to talk quieter.
White maleness? Yes, I've heard
Yeah,
about
oh, yeah, you know Natty Ice is Natty White.
that. Cool. You're a white nattyalist? Is that what you are?
Yeah, we say that around the...
I hate how you laughed at that. Like, it's just a normal thing that you totally are. Natty Ice, you are $5 for a 12-pack. Do you want to explain that?
I just like good deals. People like good deals. Just take me.
Just take you.
Here, take this $5, now drink me.
The lonely orphan of the beer line. Natty Ice, there's ways to get in touch with us. And
Yeah,
I
sure.
want you, if you could, I want people to actually email us. So please be different than you are when you're telling people about this. Like,
All right.
be like your dad. How does your dad talk?
Oh, natural eyes?
Yes, senior.
Well, if you want to email them, you can email contact@yourpopfilter.com. Any questions? Did you hate the farewell? Explain yourself and yell at them via email. Contact@yourpopfilter.com.
I'm so nervous why Natty Ice Senior hated the farewell.
Oh, man, we don't get into it at Thanksgiving. We're not talking about that at all.
That's good. Greg!
Yes, I'm back.
Oh, that was a nightmare.
What? Really?
Yeah.
I met Zima back there. They were very interesting.
What did you think of the two of them that talked at the same time in synchronization?
I don't. They're. You know what? They seem like good people.
Uh-huh.
They seem effervescent.
Oh, that's their pronouns. Right?
Yeah.
There's not two Zima people.
No,
I
that's
apologize.
just. It was just.
Which is weird because I looked right at them. And
You would
still
think
couldn't
that
tell that. Yeah.
You would know, but they move a lot.
Right,
They're
yeah.
very active. Well, let's get off of that. So that's it for our show by the farewell. Ryan, what show are we? Do you remember what movie we do next week?
What are you guys hoping for? The board has not said it, but like, what do you think that we need to prep for before our 2019 bracket?
I really, really want to see Booksmart again because when I saw that movie, I was like, hands down, that there's not going to be a better movie than this year.
And you saw it with all the lesbian scenes cut because you only watch movies on planes. That's your thing.
It's an expensive habit, but it's mine.
Gonna fly to Sacramento. I'm excited for that. I think that we should probably talk about.
Yeah.
Nobody's talking about it anymore. Mike, what do you think? Mike, come back up here.
Oh, sorry. I was. There's some characters downstairs, and some of them have extreme and loud views. But I haven't heard great things, but I am the zombie freak I am, and Jarmusch makes interesting moves. And so the last movie I saw by Jim Jarmusch was about Adam Driver being a quiet bus pilot, and I would love to see this guy's take on a zombie comedy.
He was a bus poet.
Yeah, the bus pilot's a bus pilot.
It wasn't the Magic School Bus. It did not fly. I don't know yet. But there's so many movies that I wish that we could do 2019 for the next 52 weeks, like I think about every year. You know,
But we just can't.
but no, we cannot.
We are not allowed to.
We'll do it for one more week and then probably some more after that. But that's it.
That's all you get. Well, stay tuned for that. See what movie we will pick and talk about and dissect and maybe loved. But until then, guys, keep watching them movies.